Welcome to Power Your Profits podcast, your friendly guide in bringing your business revenue to the next level. Listen as host Dr. Susie Carder hears inspiring stories of success from her fellow entrepreneurs and transformational leaders. Prepare to make significant change to your strategies as they unravel the secrets of building multi-million-dollar businesses and the most effective tips on finance, marketing, and sales accountability. If you want to take your first steps towards explosive business growth, this podcast is for you. Without further ado, here is your host, Dr. Susie.
Want to know how to land a big fish? Do you want to understand the power of a case story versus a testimonial? Well, my next guest, Ian Garlic, is the founder of videocasestory.com. He's a #1 best-selling author of video testimonials that land the big fish. He's produced over 15,000 custom videos, hosted over 500 episodes of Garlic Marketing Show, and is the creator and host of the Giants of Video, over 9,000 attendees, 15 years running, and he's a digital agency with over 500 books in his Audible account. He loves YouTube and loves YouTube SEO. Please welcome my guest, Ian Garlic. Oh my gosh, Ian, thank you so much for being on here. I'm so excited. I know I say that a lot, but I'm telling you, I only bring the best of the best to our podcast. So tell everyone from your own voice, read your bio, very powerful. Start listening to your videos, very powerful. The gift that Ian has for you, can I just say boom, shakalaka boom. That's what I'm going to say, because it is juicy. And his voice, oh, don't listen to it in the car. You'll just get all dreamy and romantic.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
I appreciate
So tell
that.
everyone what your jam is. What's your sweet spot? What do you love doing every single day?
I like being on my dock and sitting there. Actually, I work for my dock quite a bit, so that's nice. Like it was funny because it's so nice out right now, and my neighbors came out and they're like, "Is that your office?" I'm like, "Yep."
You know what? I have never worked for my dock. Now that you say that, I'm like, why am I not working for my dock?
I don't know. I built Wi-Fi so I can go halfway, I can go halfway across the lake and still have Zoom on my boat.
Okay, I've been doing it all wrong.
It's lifestyle, right? You can still work your butt off and enjoy it. But I mean, what I do, about 15 years ago, I was doing internet marketing consulting in New York City for attorneys and working for a Fortune 50 company. And Google purchased YouTube, and I was like, hey, this is going to change everything. And since then, we've been doing YouTube for service-based businesses. We eventually the company became Video Case Story because I realized that we have to start with our customer stories. Like they have the answer to everything, positioning, keywords, and if you just sell with story, you can win. And then you combine video case stories with YouTube, and like someone's searching for the answer to the problem, and then boom, a story pops up that's just like their story, and it's a no-brainer. Most people are still doing YouTube wrong in the B2B space and the large client space, but I do work with, still work with attorneys. We work with a lot of agencies as clients, and I do agency consulting and coaching and in the sales and marketing area. Because I've done it for so long, I know all the problems. And most agencies and everyone's the worst marketer, right? You're just too close to it. So we collect customer stories, and we help them to create a strategy around it, and then create other videos with their customer stories, about us videos, bio videos, what I call the core converting for, your about us, your bio, and a few other videos, and help them land big clients that walk through the door. This is the thing I love the most is people enjoy their business more because people walk through the door feeling like they know them already, right? And they're like, "Oh, I'm just ready to work with you." And they say, they don't go, "How much is it?" They go, "Do you have room for me?" And that's I love when I get those stories from people. They're always surprised
when I get those calls from people. Forget the stories. I love when I get those calls.
Exactly. When people have been listening to your podcast for a long time. And as you know, they're lurkers, right? The bigger clients, they'll listen to your podcast for 3 years, not say a word, and all of a sudden they're like, "I've been listening for years. Here's $1 million."
Right. So tell me, you brushed over it. What are the core converting for?
The case story is #1, right? If you just sold with story and you have great customer stories, not testimonials, we can talk about why you don't want to use testimonials. your About Us video. It's the second most used video on your website, or page on your website. And most people do it wrong. It shouldn't be just like your CV. It needs to be a story to them, right? What's great about me in your eyes? Um, your process video. How does it work? Like we all have complex businesses. We all work a little bit different. And and I think Dan Kennedy said, if you name the process, you own it. And then your FAQs, frequently asked questions. Now there's real quick, there's a little bonus. There's 3 types of FAQs you should have. Questions that you get asked all the time, obvious. Questions that they're thinking but not asking, that they're maybe embarrassed to ask because they're going to ask Google. And then questions they should be asking, like, because you can sneak those in, and it's like, you know what, like, why should I hire a fractional COO versus and that someone might ask, fractional versus an actual COO, or do I really need a COO at this point? Those are types of questions. But if you get those down, people will spend 10-20 minutes on your YouTube channel where they'll spend if everyone looks at their website right now, their website traffic, I can guarantee your average time on site is less than 3 minutes.
Yeah.
It's probably 1.5 minutes. We're seeing them go down. And the generation, under 40, they're just not going to websites, but they will spend forever on YouTube.
Okay, look, that was a nugget. Boom, boom. Wait, drop the mic. I want you to listen for the gold. I'm going to highlight the gold, but you listen for the gold. Like, that is so true, right? I love they're thinking about or embarrassed. I've done the SAQ, FAQs, but I love the thinking about or embarrassed to ask, right? Because that is a game changer when you look at it. So you said people are doing YouTube wrong. What are we doing wrong in YouTube?
First of all, a lot of people aren't using YouTube, right? They're not using YouTube at all. And not only is it the second most used search engine, YouTube shows up in Google search results, but it's the search engine, the only search engine I think that's more powerful, but it's a little more difficult to get on, is Amazon in the B2B space. Because if someone's going to learn something, they're either going to YouTube or going to buy a book on Amazon. Right. And you're really well educated people that are high earners are going on Amazon and YouTube. And so that's number one. And number two is they're listening to influencers, and everyone looks at Mr. Beast or whatever, and they're like, I want to do these strategies. I want to get tons of subscribers. I have clients that literally have 30 subscribers and made millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Because if you're in a CEO is not going to subscribe to your channel. They're not going to they're not going to comment. They're going to go. I've one of my clients has, a major airline that they landed through their YouTube channel. There's no comments, no likes. They were sharing it, but they just share the links inside of the company and the C-suite. So looking at influencer strategies for YouTube is another one, a big problem. And then that leads to answering $1,000 questions, and you won't need to answer $1 million questions. $1 million questions aren't going to get a ton of views, but we have $1 million questions, right? And I know you do. Like you probably have a ton of $1 million questions that only people that are growing to an 8-figure business are going to ask. Like, what is the structure of my C-suite need to look like now that I'm over 7 figures?
Right.
I mean, your entrepreneur is not going your average entrepreneur making $100,000 a year isn't going to ask that. So, but you're answering $1 million question. Most people answer $1,000 questions on their YouTube, like, how do I log into WordPress? Or, I mean, no Fortune 50 company is going to be looking, how do I build a WordPress website? But you might get 20,000 views.
Right.
And and then the final one, people are always like, how do I get more traffic to my YouTube channel? I'm like, you send your videos to people. Like, boom.
Oh my gosh.
I know, it's like crazy, right? But what you do on YouTube is you feed the monster. You're like, these are the people I want to watch my videos. You send the people you want to watch your videos. And YouTube has 65 million points of data about every person. So they're like, oh, you know what? Susie sent Ian this video. Susie wants people like Ian to see this. Let me show this video to other people like Ian. No other platform except for TikTok is helping you to share all that information. And the more specific you get, the more you get, the better you get. And then, yeah, and then just, and I think finally the thing with YouTube is, just thinking you can do it all. You need some outside help. If I'm not just saying me, it's really hard to do your own marketing. We were talking about it before. Most agencies, amazing, some of the best marketers in the world.
Right. Well, I always talk about like less is more. I don't want a ton of leads. I want the right leads.
Yeah.
And so when I'm talking to marketers, they're like, we got, eyes and looks. I'm like, I don't care about that. I want a qualified lead. If I have to pay $120 for that qualified lead, it's worth it to me. So versus people just going, I can get them cheap. I don't want cheap. Right.
No.
Cheap isn't going to pay my bills, right? Cheap's not going to pay your bills. They only pay your bills if they're the right people looking at your content, the stuff that you want, the stuff that you need.
Well, and the flip side of it is if you're going after that $1,000 lead, right? Or, not the lead costs $1,000, but that's worth $1,000, right? The person's like, I think about Noah Kagan because he put out this awesome. His new book's brilliant, even though it's really a clickbaity headline. I think it's like how to build $1 million business in a weekend, but it's a great book. But he has a course that was like how to earn $1,000 a month online. And I saw that and I was immediately turned off because I'm like, if I wasn't earning $1,000 a month online, I'd shoot myself.
Right.
I wouldn't actually shoot myself, but
I'd figure it out.
Yeah, but this isn't a call for help. But it's when you have the wrong content, you actually turn off your potential buyers, right?
Right.
If you're, and I see this all the time, like I know some of the people in my space that they're like, they're using the old direct response, like, look at me. I'm like, the C-suite guy is going to see that and go, no.
Yeah.
So
it's not about
yeah. And that stuff does get views. It does. You'll get 100,000 views. That doesn't make you money.
Right. They might be laughing at you, but they
yeah. Like, look at this joker.
So let's talk about, because you dropped it right when you came on. You said a testimonial video is different from a case study. Mm-hmm. So let's start there, because I think we all have done testimonial videos and slipped in a little bit of a case study versus you're saying ditch the testimonial. Let's talk about case study. So what's the elements of having a powerful case study?
So I don't mean to correct you, but I use case stories. And
well, here's
the difference between a case study, right?
You can correct me. It's okay.
No. Susie,
that big, my friend.
Tell me the last case study you remember. Right? You don't remember any.
Well, the funny thing is I do case stories. I never call them case stories, but I'm like, you're right. I tell stories about my clients to potential clients, which then run to the back of the room or raise their hand on a Zoom call or
exactly.
It is a powerful distinction. It's a little distinction, but very powerful versus
exactly. If you're just numbers, right?
Yeah.
Or it's testimonial saying Susie's the best. I love Susie. Oh my God, she's so awesome. I'm like, no one wants to hear that. No offense, Susie, but it's. I mean, there's a certain point in the buying cycle they do, but people want to know who this person is, what their problems were, and how did they try and fix it, and what were some things that went wrong when they tried to fix it, and and what was the story of working with you? What was the real story? Now, here's the other distinction with our process, and the process is in the book, the video, like. I actually, just for SEO purposes, have it called Video Testimonials That Land the Big Fish, because in the first line, I'm like, you don't want video testimonials. Right. Because if you ask someone for a testimonial, they're going to plan on talking about you. And they're going to be like, and they get nervous about it. And they're like, what am I going to say? So you get less chance of them coming on. But more importantly, they aren't telling their story because they're not framed that way. And when you listen to them and you have a process of asking them about their story, they're going to tell you all sorts of stuff you didn't know.
You're listening to another episode of Power Your Profits podcast. We'll be right back after a quick word from our sponsors. Are you tired of struggling to take your business to the next level? Power Your Profits is the game-changing book you've been waiting for. Dr. Susie Carder, creator of the Predictable Success Method, reveals her proven strategies for explosive growth. From daily operations to marketing systems, this comprehensive guide empowers you to achieve predictable revenue and profit growth. Don't miss out on this invaluable wisdom. Transform your business today. Find your copy at books.poweryourprofits.com. Are you tired of pouring resources into strategies that don't work? Say hello to Dr. Susie Carder, your future fractional COO. With Dr. Susie in your corner, your business can skyrocket to 7 figures and beyond. With a track record of creating thriving businesses, trust that you are in good hands. Head over to coo.poweryourprofits.com and let us put some magic into your business growth.
I just had, a really neat little mastermind with Dan Cashel.
Love me some Dan Cashel.
Yeah, he's awesome. And,
Yeah.
he came to our studio. We had about 10 amazing business owners, really small. I love that, because it's like intimate. And a few of my clients were there and we talked about the case stories and they're like, yeah, every time we just found so much stuff out we didn't know about our business. Because when you tell stories, like people are like, oh yeah, this happened and this happened. So you miss out in that opportunity of really listening to your clients because you're like, check the box. I got a testimonial. Someone said I'm great. Let me pop that on the website. And also stories, if someone doesn't know who you are, right, and someone starts talking about you, it really doesn't matter. So you need different versions of them too, and different versions of the stories. So testimonials are usually about a person, about you, and they're boring. Case studies are usually numbers. And the problem with going really number driven is the numbers could be irrelevant to a person. Person could not be a numbers person, right? And if you say my business grew 25% in a year, I'm like, well, maybe that person wants 50%. Maybe the person doesn't know what 25% means. Maybe doesn't, like for you, maybe they don't even know their numbers.
Right.
Maybe top line revenue, someone grew 25%, but really their life sucks because their profit dropped.
Right.
So
and 25% is irrelevant, right? 25% what, of a dollar?
Yeah. Well, exactly.
I could spin doctor those numbers any way I want to make it sound good.
But Tier 11 is another marketing agency. My friend Ralph Burns, amazing marketing agency, and we just did a case story for them. And their client said, I was being tortured by these agencies that just didn't know what they were doing, and I couldn't trust them, and I was spending all my time fixing these agencies. But then I started working with Tier 11, and all of a sudden, everything started working right away, and I didn't have to pay attention. And then I was able to actually grow my operations, work on my business because I didn't have to worry about what was going on here. Right. Yeah. And that's a story, right? Because it was like all this conflict, and I said it really quickly. It was a much better story, but that's the difference. And it takes work. My 1-star review on my book, I did get a 1-star review. Someone read it and they're like, this is a lot of work.
Exactly. That's why you hire someone to help you do it.
Exactly. I'm like, well, it is a lot of work. I'm trying to explain to you what it is. If you want to go do it. I think everyone needs to concentrate on it. Right. Sorry, I get all excited about it.
No, I love it. Well, I think you said like another little finding what you're good at and then sticking to it, which is through the case stories, you're seeing, because my clients have told me for years, they named me the profit coach, and I'm like, but why? They're like, because you're the money. You're not some strategist. You're the money. You're the profit coach. I'm like, I am. Like, never occurred to me. That seems so ego driven. But they kept saying it over and over and over. Right. And then they're like, you're the prophet and then the prophet. I'm like, okay.
Love it.
You got to deal with their personal development on side of their business development. So, which came from clients, right? So I love that you highlighted that to go, there's so much deliciousness inside of that story that you would not know. Right.
Yep. Yeah. And one of those side things, like people also want to the other thing I get besides what equipment I should use, which is kind of irrelevant, is what are the questions I should ask? And you shouldn't just send people questions. You need to have where you need to have a conversation to get a story out. We're just not naturally like, give me questions and I'm going to tell a story. Right. And we see all those bad testimonials, bad attorney testimonials on TV. It's because they just were like, here, let me coach you on what to say.
Right. Here's the script.
Yeah. Here's the script, or here's these questions. And they're all nervous. It's like, you've got to talk to someone. That's why they send a news reporter out, right, to find the news. That's why there's an attorney actually at a deposition and not just a list of questions for the guy.
Right. So talk about how do we, right, if you're looking for new clients, how do you land those big fish? Because you talk about strategies to land the big fish.
Well, you understand who they are, right? What do they want? What do they really, really want? What are they searching for? Where are they? Right? You have to know, like, where are they? So that, and we use a process. One tools we use is called the tackle box, because if you're going to land a big fish, you need to know, you need to have the stuff you're going to hook them with. And
Right.
so you have to have the hooks, and especially marketing, you have to have the hooks. So you have to understand what they're excited about. So the best way to land a big fish is to have one, ask them about their story, and then use their story to land other big fish. Because then you know where they are, what they were looking for. Um, and you can tell that story. It's like, here, so and so had a problem just like yours, and they tried this and this and this. Does that sound familiar? Yeah. And they really wanted to spend more time on, they really wanted to take their business to the next level, and they wanted to take home more profits. They didn't think they were taking home enough money, even though they're working a ton, and they felt like they had to do everything in the business. Does that sound familiar? Yeah. Now, what if I told you, they tried hiring someone internal? That didn't work. They tried to educate someone. They didn't work. Right. Does that sound familiar? Yeah. Now, what if I told you that now they hired the profit coach, and they went through this process, my proven process, and all of a sudden, the first big win, within a month or so, they were taking home money, and more money. Is that something you'd want to talk about? Yeah. And then you take those videos and you just put them in front of them on
Right.
LinkedIn, and you're connected with them. You can retarget them, you can optimize them, and all of your content goes back to those stories. And you keep sending those stories out over and over again until people can't resist you. And that's how you land the big fish. I mean, it's not anything new. It's just the technology is different that we can do it
Right.
with.
So when you start working with a client, kind of share your process of who's that ideal client for you, and then share what does that process look like when they come to work with you.
Yeah, sure. So we have strategists in we're getting in almost every area. So we have other agencies that work with us as strategists. So we work with lawyers, doctors, personal injury lawyers, to SaaS companies, coaches, consultants, whoever provides a service, right? A transformative service. Um, and then when they come to us, the first thing we do is we want to know, obviously, like, what do they really want? And goals and positioning and stories, right? We want to know their goals. What is their positioning and stories? And I call it the GPS call, because I want to hear their stories, where they've been, where they want to go. Right? You wouldn't go out fishing and not know where you were going. I mean, some people would, and then those are the people we
You
see on
say
the news.
GPS or GBS?
GPS,
GPS.
like a GPS, like your
Yeah. Okay. I thought you
like
said B. I'm like, what's the B? What's the B? Okay, got it.
GPS.
I'm a listener and a note taker, so
I appreciate that. And so then once we do that, we do what's called the fish in the barrel analysis. There's a people are there's so many clients swimming around looking at your business that you're not converting. You're not following up with
yes,
them, or your website doesn't speak to them,
yes,
or they don't know exactly what you do because you're selling features, or most people aren't using retargeting, which boggles my mind. um and they're not doing email follow-up, they're not doing email onboarding, and then all these are all places that if you put customer stories, you can literally 10x your investment in video case stories in a year. I've seen people use the video case stories for 10 years, so literally, I mean, they're paying pennies per day
right,
on it, and they still work years later. So we figure that out. And then we do this thing called a strategy session that we call the tackle box. We talk through your customers, and we help to identify what are some traits in them, what are like common traits, because most people don't talk about all their customers at once. They might
right,
tell me one story, and we find in their positioning, etc. And then you introduce us, and we interview them. We craft custom questions, we interview them, and we bring it back, and we say, these are our findings, and these are the types of videos we need to create, and these are all the places you need to use them, and you should be using them here and here and here and here, and we can craft all these different types. We craft anywhere from 30-second videos up to 30-minute case stories. We have long form case stories that people watch all the way through. Like, literally, we just did one for an attorney. It's like, people told me they watch it 3 times. It's a 30-minute case story, right?
right,
Everyone asked me, like, what's your YouTube video be? A minute to 2 minutes? I'm like, as long as you get them to watch. So
right.
yeah. And then we internally, we do a lot of YouTube strategy, SEO. Then we move into the other types of videos we can create with them about us, etc. And then we work with other agencies and other professionals and internal teams to really help magnify their business.
And then what's the investment if somebody wanted to play at that level?
It varies. Most of our clients, like our initial phase one of our 90-day case story solution is about $4,000. And that includes all the strategy components, the fish in the barrel, the GPS, the interview, up to 5 interviews. We discuss 10 to 15 other clients. We map out their positioning and they get a video out of it, but it's an entire strategy. Like, and they get all these video recordings. From there, we have clients that spend anywhere from, at the high end, $30,000 a month with us down to a thousand or two.
I love that, right? Like $4,000, you're like, I get a strategy for $4,000. How much time have we wasted trying to figure out a YouTube strategy? And it keeps changing, right? I think that's why I love hiring experts. Like, I don't have time to keep up with that.
No.
Like, I gotta
Yeah.
have someone that's keeping up with it. You just tell me what I need to do. I'll go do it. A lot of our clients are the same way. They're Xerox machines. Just tell me what I need to do and I'll do it. But kind of like your client that talked about before, we've all been burned by people who say they can do it, right? Saying
Yeah.
you can do it and you can do it are two different conversations. You and I both know that. I've spent a lot of money wrong. That's why I'm committed to having the right people on this show, because I want people to do the shit for real,
Yeah.
right? And produce results for their clients. Because at the end of the day, I have no problem investing. I just got to make sure I'm spending the money wisely, right?
Yeah. I mean, I guarantee I've gotten to this place because I know, YouTube is not going away. Right. My son literally is in the other room right now. He's homesick today. And he begs me for YouTube. Right. And he's 10.
Yeah.
And, up to 70-year-old retired school teachers in the middle of Texas, I interviewed. I'm like, how did you find out about this medical procedure? YouTube.
Yeah.
So I know YouTube works if you do it right. And I know customer stories are going to work for a long time. Right. Even AI, AI is not, I feel like YouTube's going to actually have a checklist that says has AI in it, right? So
Right.
the customer stories are real.
Right.
And so I think those two things, that's why I'm here, is because I hate doing things for people that doesn't work. I
Right.
think there's a lot of people out there that can sell stuff. I could sell a lot of stuff, but I'm not doing that to someone. And that's why I love when someone's like, oh, that case story you made for me like 6 years ago? I just got another client from it. Like, that makes me feel so good.
Right. It's like we're doing the work we're supposed to do in the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. So let's shift just a little bit. So let's talk about your business, right? And growing your business. And the
Mhm.
business is this evolutionary up, down, up, down, up, down.
Yeah.
I think as entrepreneurs, we're trying to get it. Most people think they're just trying to get it even. Well, if we're even, we're dead, right?
Yep.
There's this means life, the up, down, up, down. So
Oh, 100%.
about in growing your brands, right? Because you've done a lot of different things, not just this, right? What's
Yeah.
been biggest challenge and what you learn from it?
My biggest challenge is always focus. Like
Mm,
my focus, because I'm like, oh, I love this and I can do this, and I love learning new things. I love testing new stuff out. Focus, yeah, is for me a big issue. And then it's saying no is another big issue.
yeah.
because
Yes.
because I'm like, oh, I can help this person out. And yeah, and I feel like we still undercharge for the value we deliver. But it's hard for me because I'm like, I want to help everyone out. So I mean,
Right.
those, we've had operational issues, profitability issues, just because of not saying no, not tracking. And like, we definitely have had issues like switching, because we were in person and then we switched to COVID hit and we switched to, remote, and it's a whole different operational model.
Yeah.
So, we didn't treat it that way. I didn't treat it that way, and it affected us. And those have been the challenges, for sure, the big ones. But it's all part of it, right?
Well, I think you have the entrepreneur journey of the focus. So what is one hack that you've done to get your focus and that clarity?
For me, it is vision, right? It's like, what's my vision? And one of the things I'm working on, and really, Dan Sullivan kind of talks about it, and I just was talking to Jason Friedman from CX Formula about it, is that the vision actually needs to be more than just like, what's my vision? It's what's my ultimate case story that I want, right? And painting,
Mhm.
like, instead of looking at my case stories, go, what's the case story you want? Because Dan Sullivan talks about, who do you want to be a hero to, but
Right.
what's this hero story that you want to create? And that's where, if I stay on that, that helps me out a lot, because then it's like, is this helping this person out? Because if you, coming back to like Zig Ziglar, if you can have anything you want in life, if you help enough people get what they want. And
Right.
so if we know that story that we want to paint for that person, then everything else kind of falls into place. So that for me is like, that's kind of the thing I'm working on right now.
Josie. So what's one question you wish I would have asked you, or I should have asked you?
No idea.
No idea. Okay. Sometimes it resonates and they're like, I wish you would have said this or that or this.
I don't know. I love having conversations. I'm like, I always like new questions. So those are all great
well, I
ones.
love it. I took 3 pages of notes as you were talking.
That's amazing. Does your
I-
hand hurt?
No, and the nice thing is this will all be transcribed as well, but it just helps me retain. So I want to say that if you loved this story, right, you love this conversation, please share this podcast with your guests, with your friends. Somebody needs this story. Somebody needs this content. Please like it, give Ian some love, right? Go stalk him, check him out. We do have a gift for you. It is an amazing gift. It's really juicy and meaty. It's the book. Right. I was listening to it right before I came on, and it's very comprehensive. I love that you even say how long the videos are going to be, so we don't get lost in it. So it's all the
you can listen to it on YouTube. Listen to it on YouTube.
All the chapters on the book. So the link is in the show notes. And so please like this, share it with your friends. We appreciate you. Anything you want to say for your parting words, my friend?
Yeah. So that's unlisted. So you can share it with your friends, but go buy the book. I want other people to buy the book.
I meant this podcast episode. So yes, go buy the book. So definitely we'll put that link in there as well, so we can get the book, and then make sure that you buy the book and sing our praises and write a good case story.
Yeah. And use your case stories to figure out who makes you profitable, and then hire a COO.
That's right. And a CMO. Thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate you, and have a blessed day.
Thanks, Susie.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Power Your Profits podcast. Let these building blocks from today's most successful industry leaders equip you with the necessary resources and tools to finally establish the highly profitable business of your dreams. Want to hear more? Listen to more episodes at www.poweryourprofitspodcast.com. And don't forget to subscribe to the show. Now is your time to rise to the top of your game. So be sure to catch our next episode. Until next time.